my name is Bettina Ray. If you are brand new here, make sure that you subscribe so that you know when the next video comes out. Hit the like button, leave me a comment if you enjoy this yoga class because I always love to hear from you. So I am a yoga teacher. I specialize in fertility and pregnancy and early motherhood. So I share all about those things as well as little snippets from our family life. So if that's the space that you're in as well, I would love if you would subscribe, stick around and join this journey with me. So today's yoga class is going to be yoga for the third trimester. Now, I just did a little film and watched it back and I was like, holy, look how big your belly is. So I am 38 weeks and I don't know, maybe I haven't been looking in the mirror recently, but I don't know, just putting yoga clothes on was like, oh yeah, you've gotten really big. So this is going to be an interesting class for me as well. It's obviously suitable for all stages of pregnancy. If you are in the really early stages, like maybe you're just 5 or 6 weeks pregnant, go and check out this class here instead. It's a lot slower and a lot more restorative, and that's really what you need during the first trimester. You can of course do this class if you're feeling quite energetic. Nothing that you're going to do is going to harm baby, but it might not be the best suited to your energy level at the moment. So just keep that in mind. Of course, whenever we're practicing yoga when we're pregnant, make sure you're listening to your body, rest and stop at any time. And if you have some pillows or cushions or a bolster, they can be really handy during a pregnancy yoga practice as well, especially at this late stage. So today's flow is going to be a really general sort of flow, opening and stretching through the hips, through the back of the legs. I know for me they're getting quite tight at the minute just because I'm carrying all this extra weight. Now if you're having any SI pain, so any pain through the pelvis, in the tailbone, any sciatica, I've got specific videos for those, so go and check those out because this particular class may make those worse if you haven't watched those videos first. One more thing before we get into the class, I have a free yoga guide for pregnancy and birth. So if you enjoy this class, make sure you download that one because it's got all the info you need to know about practicing at this time and some extra classes in there for you as well. All right, let's get into today's class. So we're actually going to start with a sun salutation. It's obviously going to be a modified sun salutation. We've got to do something with this big belly. So just go nice and gently. If you're having any issues with blood pressure going from high to low, you might want to stay on the ground and meet us there because we'll be there shortly. So otherwise, take the feet as wide as the edges of the mat. Inhale the arms towards the sky. As you exhale, open out to the side. Inhale up, back to center, exhale, open to the opposite side. So just making some movement and some space through the spine. Inhale up, exhale. Inhale, and this time come back to center, exhale the hands through the heart. Inhale all the way to the sky. Exhale, take them wide, forward fold down. So if you're having any blood pressure issues, you may want to walk the hands down. Let the head and neck hang, maybe sway it out from side to side. You're going to plant the hands down, so you may need to bend right into those knees to get the hands firmly on the ground, and then step the feet back to your down dog. So again, keep the feet nice and wide. So I'm going to keep mine as wide as the edges of the mat. Head is hanging gently. As you inhale, bring the knees down. Lift the head, lift the tail. As you exhale, round through the spine, look back towards the thighs. Inhale, lift. Exhale, round. Inhale. And exhale. So again, still just making some movement and some space in that spine. We're going to walk the hands forward slightly. Bring the hips forward if this feels okay. So if your belly is feeling a little bit like, oh, I don't enjoy this, if this is too much on the back, just stay back here. And you can actually do it in tabletop. So coming down in chaturanga, just resting the chest down. Your arms are still getting the work, but there's not as much pressure through the core. If it feels okay, you can do a plank off the knees. Exhale down until the belly is a bit too close to the floor. Press back into the hands. We take a seat all the way back to child's pose. So knees nice and wide, rest the chest down. So we're going to repeat this as you inhale. Round through the spine, come up. Come to your kneeling plank. Exhale till the belly's too close. Press into the hands. Sit all the way back. So if your belly's not as big as mine, you might be able to come down a little bit lower. One more of these. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale, sit back. Walk the hands all the way back. So just sitting comfortably here on the feet. If this isn't okay, you can bring the knees in. Hands behind you. Inhale, open up through the heart. Release forward, interlace the hands around through that upper back. And then release the hands down. Just bring the knees in slightly. If it's comfortable, they can come all the way together. Left hand comes down to the side. Inhale, up and over. Inhale, up. Bring the hand down to the opposite side, reaching over. So you can let the opposite hip pop out. Really getting a big stretch through the side body. And then inhale, coming back up. Reach the hands forward, step the left leg forward. We come into a kneeling lunge. So you may like to here, if you've got a cushion or if you're using the bolster, have this pressed up against that back thigh, so you're not actually doing too much opening. You can also rest the hands on the bolster, bring the floor a little bit closer towards you, so that you can really lean the weight into this front foot without overstretching. If it feels good for you though, feel free to do it without the props. We're going to now roll that foot onto the outer blade. And bring the arms down onto that bolster. So again, my belly's gently pressing onto the bolster. If that's not comfortable for you, move the bolster out a little further and you'll make a bit of a gap here for your belly just to hang out. Draw that knee back in. And then step that front foot back. If you're working with that bolster, just rolling it to the opposite side, right foot steps forward. And then just leaning forward into that kneeling lunge. Keep the upper body soft, keep the belly soft. See if you can just focus on the breath in and out through the nose. And then roll that right foot onto the outer blade. You can either stay here up on the hands or you can come down onto the forearms. Inhale, bring the weight back into the hands, weight back into that back knee so that you can step that front foot back. We're going to come into a low squat now, and I'm going to use this bolster to support me underneath the bottom. So you can do this without the bolster, so you can just be up on the feet. I'm kind of getting to that point now where there's a whole lot of pressure down here, and I don't really enjoy just kind of low squatting. It feels much better to have that support underneath me. So you decide what works for you. This way I can also get my heels to the ground, which is kind of where we want to work towards. Draw those knees out. Press the elbows inside, hands to heart. Let's take a big breath here into the belly. So I want you to bring awareness to the belly. Given that we're dedicating this practice to the third trimester, it is time where we're starting to think about birth. So really focusing the breath to the belly is going to help you during labor and birth. So really breathing into this space. You may even want to bring your hands to the belly to remind you to breathe into the hands. Keep drawing the shoulder blades back and down. If it feels good, you can close your eyes or keep them open. Now I've got other videos in my online yoga circle, which I'll link to below or above, that you can check out. So really the skills to work with your body during birth. So you can check those out over in my online yoga circle for the free 30-day trial. And it kind of goes through similar things to this without the whole yoga class. So really teaching you those yoga skills that you can use during labor and birth to help labor progress more smoothly, to deal with the pain of labor and birth, all of these sorts of things. So one of them is really that breath and sending it to the uterus, because the uterus is a muscle that needs our breath to work well. Just like when you're running, your legs need you to breathe properly, otherwise you end up with a stitch and a cramp. Your uterus needs the same thing, so keep breathing to that belly. Just going to take the left hand down to the side, take the right arm up towards the sky, making a bit of space through the shoulders. If it feels good, you can bring it around to the opposite hip, draw that right shoulder down. Then stretch the right leg out, reach the right hand down the leg. Inhale up and over. Inhale, come back to center. We're going to move this leg now. So if you aren't up on a bolster, just adjust so that you're meeting us in this position. So we're going to press into the knee and open out wide. Exhale, slowly releasing back down. So coming back down to the bolster if you're on it, and drawing the legs back in. And coming back to that low squat. So just take a moment to resettle here. And then we find that opening on the opposite side. Finding that half bind if it felt good for you. And then taking that left leg out, reaching the left hand down, inhale up and over. So you can find a half bind here as well if you like, opening that shoulder up. And then coming back to center so that you can bring that right knee down. The right hand comes down, big breath in, lift the hips up. And then exhale all the way down. So just readjusting, bringing the legs out in front of you this time. If you're not up on a bolster or cushion already, I recommend jumping up on one. It just makes this stretch through the hamstrings a little less. If it's okay for you, you could always just bend the knees a little bit, so that's going to take a little bit of the pressure off the legs. And just gently leaning forward towards the toes. So once your belly is this big, you can't really fold too much. You could always take the legs a little wider, but it will change where you feel the stretch. So if it feels okay, keep the feet together. Just gently leaning forward. And then bring the feet back towards you. But keep them quite wide. And we're going to take the right foot across the left knee. And then just gently lean forward. You should be able to feel this stretch through that right hip. There's still enough space here for the belly. And again, if this is causing any discomfort through the hips, back off. It's your hips saying we don't actually need to open any further. And go check out that video that I've got on pelvic instability, because that's something that you need to really be aware of when you're pregnant, because everything's opening anyway. Just breathing, softening the shoulders here. It's the best thing about yoga during pregnancy is you can practice that breath that you're going to need during labor and birth. Release the right foot down, left foot comes across, just leaning forward as far as you need until you can feel that stretch through the hip. And release it down. All right, so we're just going to finish up in a little bit of a meditation, just do a little bit of a body scan. So you're welcome to lie on your side if that's comfortable. If you're in earlier stages of pregnancy, you can still lie on your back, go for that. If you want to take the legs up the wall, you can do that. Or you can just sit like me, maybe bring a bolster against the wall so you can really press the back into it. However you're comfortable is fine here. I'm going to ask you to close down the eyes. I will keep mine open. You don't want me falling asleep at this point. Otherwise, just let everything soften. I want you to notice your breath filling your body. So breathing in through the nose. And as you exhale, let it soften you. Let any tension or fears or worries or anything you're holding on to, just let them go. I want you to notice your skin, the clothing touching you, maybe the bolster, the floor, the mat, anything that you're touching right now. So noticing the sensation of touch. Being aware of it as you continue to breathe. Maybe there's a soft breeze where you are. Maybe you have other children around you. Just being aware of this sensation. I'd like you to notice the sensation of smell. Can you smell anything? It might be a perfume that you put on, a soap that you use. Maybe someone's cooking in another room. Maybe the neighbors are barbecuing. Whatever it is that you can smell, just breathing deeply and noticing. Keep breathing deeply into that belly, which is good practice for labor, but is also the most powerful tool we have for calming our nervous system. So any stresses, any anxieties, we can calm down just by breathing into that belly. I want you to notice now any sounds that you can hear. So maybe there are children playing somewhere nearby, doors slamming, cars, music. Notice anything that you can hear right now. Maybe just the sound of my voice. And then I want you to take your awareness inside, and I want you to notice how the physical body is feeling today. So any tightness, maybe you can feel baby moving within your belly. Maybe you're feeling really good. Maybe you've got a new burst of energy that you haven't had for a while. Maybe you're still feeling morning sickness. Whatever you're feeling, it's no right or wrong. Just allow yourself to notice. Start to tune in with any emotions that you're experiencing. Notice them. Try not to get caught up in the thoughts of them. Just be aware. Just perhaps name them and then let yourself experience them without trying to think too much. And then when you're ready, starting to slowly bring your awareness back to the physical body. So notice your position, whether you're sitting or lying. Maybe breathe a little deeper if you got a little lost in a sleepy sort of state. Perfectly normal when you're pregnant. Coming back and joining us. Maybe slowly stretching, moving the body, coming back to have a seat. Thank you so much for joining me for this little practice today. It's really quite special now, starting to think about meeting this baby. I'm getting very close. I'm only a couple of weeks off. So who knows, maybe the next video I release will be one with this little man in my arms, which would be lovely. Thank you as always for being a part of this community. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. And if you haven't already connected with me, I would love to know in the comments below how many weeks pregnant you are, whether this is your first, your second, your third. I always love to know who's practicing alongside. And if you do happen to do this to practice, I would love if you would snap a picture and share it on social media, because I love to see where you practice and who's practicing along with me. Have a beautiful day.